Yes, Raja, we're live now.
Okay, thank you, Surosh. We will go ahead and get started. I will just set up a few things here on my screen. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to our information session for the Large Language Models Bootcamp. My name is Raja Iqbal. I'm the Chief Data Scientist at Data Science Dojo, and I'm also one of the lead instructors at the LLM Bootcamp and also some of the online offerings that I will be mentioning in a moment. We have done this before. Perhaps you have been here before in this information session. So I will go over very quickly about the logistics, what the bootcamp is about, and what it is not about, and some of the online offerings that we have introduced and we have launched. The registrations have opened, so we'll talk about it. So we are one of the oldest players and one of the probably most notable players in this space in terms of data science and machine learning, analytics, trainings across the board. So we do trainings all the way to very hands-on, hardcore machine learning, AI, business analyst, data analyst type professionals. And then also for product managers, marketing managers, the general ecosystem that actually consumes the data products, or they are part of a data-driven organization. Enterprise trainings, we have a sizable part of our business is actually enterprise training. So if you are one of those individuals who may have a team that wants to be upskilled, please reach out to us. And this is our numbers, more than 11,000 graduates. And I'm talking about face-to-face, right? So we have taught people in a face-to-face interactive setting. This is not self-paced courses. I mean, self-paced numbers, I don't know what those numbers are. Those numbers are going to be very huge. Overall, why this boot camp? Last year around this time, around February, March timeframe, we started doing some services work. We started doing some consulting work for some companies that wanted to build large language model applications. Well, we have been doing a lot of machine learning work for companies, but this was the first time when we started doing some of the LLM application work. So we started, and in some cases, some companies had already built these systems, and they were scratching their heads now, right? So what do we do? So we have started it, but there are some challenges. The Bards of the world, the Chat GPTs and Claudes of the world, they make it look very easy, right? So generating this content, this social media post, that poem, that question and answer that I wanted to have or wanted to get, maybe do my homework, get some help in writing here and there. That seems very easy. But when you try to deploy these applications in an enterprise, there are some practical considerations. There are some practical limitations. And what are those practical limitations? Chat GPT may seem to be free, but there is a substantial cost that OpenAI actually incurs in hosting those and then allowing you to use Chat GPT for free. And when enterprises actually start to adopt these tools, the large language model tools, they have this realization: it is tough. It is tough to manage, manage all of those things. Starting from the cost, you start with token usage and costs. Context window limits, right? So even if you have a 200K context window model, you still have some limitations there, right? So because your real world data is not going to actually it is not going to obey your business constraints. What do you do in that case? There are regulatory challenges. You have proprietary data. Regulatory challenges. I mean, I can give you an example, right? So I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with this example. Air Canada they had to face a customer in court because one of their chatbots gave a bereavement fare to one of the customers, and the customer purchased the fare, believing the chatbot. And when the customer went back to ask for that discount, Air Canada said, "What discount?" And then the matter went to court, and court ruled in favor of the customer because they thought that Air Canada is responsible for their large language models bot, which is, I mean, if you look at this, we are living in this new era of large language models and generative AI, where our the nature of our challenges, the business challenges, is going to be different. Then you're talking about any proprietary data, so any proprietary data leaking or getting in the wrong hands. Now, when you're asking questions, are you getting the questions in time, or are you getting those, or rather, are you getting your responses in a timely manner or not? What about your data and AI governance? Do you use open source models, or do you use closed source models? There is this challenge of lack of reproducibility. So can you reproduce the results or not? Hallucinations is a problem. Your knowledge base, it's constantly changing. How do you evaluate a model? So I can keep going. We realize that it is non-trivial enough that enterprises would actually need to be upskilled. And we decided to launch this bootcamp. And the bootcamp is actually the only bootcamp in industry at the moment. We are the first in the world, and the only bootcamp in the world that teaches you end-to-end. Yes, I mean, there are courses on observability here, and maybe embeddings here, and vector databases here, there. So these courses do exist, but we are a comprehensive course that covers everything end-to-end. So you start with the very foundation and end with really a complete application. You build that application within this bootcamp, and that is what our differentiator is. We have been around for a long time, close to 7,000 graduates from our data science bootcamp, and we have a stellar reputation when it comes to data science bootcamp. And now we have launched this similar product, a 40-hour immersive in-person program, and with a capstone project on the last day. And well, everyone cannot travel for an in-person bootcamp. So we were asked about, what about the online courses? And then we have launched, we are slowly rolling them out. We have announced 2 courses. I will show you what courses we have announced. And this is going to be the same interactive learning. The courses are 4 to 8 hours. Some courses are 4 hours, some are 8 hours. Shorter duration. Of course, the cost is somewhat more affordable because you don't have to travel, and then we don't have an in-person commitment involved. And then we have tons of free self-paced courses. I mean, come join the learning platform, just interact with courses, and they are there for you for free. So I will first go over the bootcamp that we have. So in terms of the curriculum, the curriculum has been designed by practitioners. I spend almost 50%, or maybe more than 50% of my time on a product that we are building. And my daily meetings involve, talking about, how to optimize our hybrid search for, the RAG application that we're building, right? So, how do we put proper guardrails here, right? So talking to customers. So the curriculum has been designed. I've been involved in designing the curriculum among other data scientists. So one of the key differentiator is, this is not actually some course that is, hey, I read that paper. I don't know how it works, but I can tell you how it works, right? So, and I've never done it, right? But in our case, anyone who teaches this training or this in this trainings, either if they are from Data Science Dojo, they are practitioners. And if we have a large number of people, I think we have a combined instructors and speakers. We have about, I would say, 10 people teaching on different sessions, and they are coming from leading companies in this space. We have a speaker from MongoDB. We have a speaker from Vectera. We have a speaker from Y Labs, which is an observability the company that makes this tool for observability. We have people from Stripe, and I can keep going. I think I have a slide where you will see all the instructors. The other thing is, when you sign up, yeah, our learning platform, it has all the tools that you need. As long as you have a computer with a web browser, what we have done is we have prepared everything for you, and then you do not need to worry about OpenAI keys, or don't have to worry about licenses and dependencies for different packages. You just click on the lab, and we have hundreds of those in our course that you will see. I will show you all of that. I will walk you through everything. And then, there's a lot of hands-on exercises. And then the focus is, I would say, 50-50. We talk about theory, we discuss, engage. And then once the context is set up, we go to hands-on part, right? So pretty much everything. If it's not going to be only, hey, this is embedding, right? So this is vector representation, this is the attention mechanism transformers. You will actually have a lab where you will do it. When you talk about vector databases, you will have a lab for vector databases and so on. So I will explain everything in a moment. And then, as I said, just bring your laptop. We are including, when you register, up to $500 US of credit for all software and cloud services. So when you do a fine-tuning exercise, you will be given a GPU cloud to actually fine-tune your model. If you are, you're setting up semantic cache, in MongoDB, we will actually, give you the right resources. So basically, you do not have to worry about, hey, do I have the software? What software do I need to install? And all of that. Everything is taken care of. Our learning platform is amazing. We have installed everything. So everything is there, included. And then we have guest talks. So it is not just Data Science Jojo explaining and talking about things. We have guest talks from industry speakers in industry who have actually built real solutions, and they have seen solutions succeed, and they have seen solutions fail within an organization for various reasons. The solutions could fail because a solution can fail because of many reasons. The customers don't like it, your workforce does not like it. So all those things, they are actually essential in being a good technologist. If you do not understand the business side of it, the cultural side of it, all the other non-technical issues, it does not really, you're not a great engineer unless you understand all of that. So we have a good combination of all of the things. It's a very balanced curriculum. We don't focus on coding. We also talk about other issues that you may not have thought through. Okay. So let me see. I'm going to go over at a very high level, I'm going to go over this architecture. This is a reference architecture. By no means this is complete, but this is just to give you an idea that we actually will be teaching you everything across the board. Maybe let me take it back. I should not say everything, but most of the things that exist in this ecosystem, you will leave with a very good, decent understanding of what is happening. So starting with LLM APIs, both from either you're using the LLM APIs or you're using an open source model that you're deploying. We have both happening. We will be using OpenAI a lot. You will get the keys, and you'll be getting the keys and accesses to the services when you're using OpenAI. When we use Llama 2 model, we have a fine-tuning exercise for Llama 2 7 billion parameter model. When you do that, that's open source side will give you the infrastructure and everything, and then in addition to the setup and the instruction material. So if you look at the architecture, so the LLM or the foundation models, they are a key component in this ecosystem. Then foundation models alone are not enough. You need something to create those embeddings, right? So, and we will talk about embeddings. We'll talk about embeddings in detail. Then we are going to actually also talk about how do you store these embeddings. And they are going to be hands-on exercises. You create the embeddings using whatever models, whatever embedding model you're using. And then we'll also talk about storing and indexing, optimizing the index in a vector database. And then how do you retrieve? How do you build a semantic search engine? So if you look at this is a typical architecture for LLM application. And I'm showing you, I'm sorry, I flipped the slide too early. So we are going to actually talk about this. Then, there is this idea of a semantic cache. Where is it here? There's this idea of a semantic cache. And semantic cache is, well, every time when you interact with a large language model, you encounter some cost of token consumption, right? So GPUs are expensive. Compute is expensive. So semantic cache is that layer where you sometimes you cache your results based on semantic similarity. So we'll talk about first, of course, by the time we get to semantic cache, you will have, it's halfway through the bootcamp. By the time you get there, you will actually know why do you need to have, what is a semantic cache, first of all, and why do you need to have a semantic cache? It is basically save cost and reduce latencies in your application. Then there is a whole area of how do you actually collect your logs? How do you actually collect your logs, put guardrails around your application, so it does not respond to any prompts that are toxic, they are inappropriate, or they don't meet your enterprise guidelines, or your model does not respond to any queries that should not be catered. And then we have a very detailed session on LangChain. If you look at this, the entire ecosystem. I'm sorry, I keep switching back and forth because the entire ecosystem is quite complex. Yes, I mean, one can go and attend a course here, a course there, a 2-hour course here, and a 1-hour course there. But what we are doing here is we are doing this comprehensive end-to-end description, end-to-end understanding of things, and connecting the dots together, right? So, for instance, right, so I can go and attend a course in vector databases, but I have no idea how to use them. I mean, where do they sit in my application? So what we are doing here is we are not only teaching each of the modules here, we are also teaching you how do you stitch them together to build a working application? How do you put, once your application is there, how do you connect it to different data sources? So or how do you connect it to different types of models? And how do you optimize? How do you put guardrails on it? How do you make your application secure? So think of it as a comprehensive end-to-end discussion or end-to-end hands-on experience where you will learn everything across the board. So I think instead of going from here, so this is the technology stack, and then I will switch to our learning platform. So this is the technology stack that we are using. At the moment, we have few more partners who are coming in, but this is a technology stack that we are using. When you build the app is deployed in Streamlit. So you will learn a little bit of, app deployment. Then when you do your fine tuning of your model, then you will be using RunPod. They are a partner for the bootcamp. So thanks to them, so we'll be giving you GPU cloud credit for that exercise. Vectera as a partner. Vectera is, they have an application for some of you who may not understand, but I mean, this is your RAG in a box, which is retrieval augmented generation in a box. Then MongoDB is a partner. They are Mongo. I think if you are in industry, you know what MongoDB is. But MongoDB also introduced a vector database functionality. And now we have a session with MongoDB on vector databases and how to use MongoDB as a semantic cache. Symbol AI, they are a great partner for us. And then there is this concept of domain-specific models. So Symbol has this model, which is Nebula. So once you've understood the idea of embeddings, vector databases, and fine-tuning, now how do you actually build this domain-specific models? So this is also, I mean, personally, I mean, this is one of my favorite talks because I mean, Karthik, who teaches it, is a great instructor. So what are we going to do here? We are going to actually set the foundation. We have, once again, in this area, we have Luis Serrano. For those of you who know him, he is our guest speaker for that. He is one of the best people if you want to learn transformers and attention mechanisms. So he teaches transformers and attention mechanism, and what really is all of this about? What is an LLM, and why do we need a vector database, and why do you need embeddings, and how does attention mechanism work? I mean, what is an encoder? What is a decoder? And all of that. So we talk about that. Then we go and talk about embeddings. How do you create embeddings? And I will show you the hands-on exercises in just a moment. And how do you actually store those embeddings in vector database? How do you optimize how do you optimize your the index where the embeddings have been stored? Then building a semantic search engine with multilingual search capability. Prompt engineering, we spend time on that. LangChain, we spend quite a bit of time on LangChain. I think I should probably switch here. So this is the learning platform that you get access to when you sign up for the bootcamp. And you can see on the left, you have, we have some prerequisites in the sense, some refresher in Python and all of that. That's all you need. If you can program in Python, you can attend this bootcamp. So I know that this is a common question that people ask. What are the prerequisites? We have had people who even did not know, were not very good at programming. And the way it works is they were able to actually, they were fine attending the bootcamp. They did, they were okay. And the way this works is, if you look at this, when I click here, the way we have structured this is that you have, anytime we discuss a topic, within the topic, we have these links to these labs. And when I click on this lab, I'm sorry, I clicked on the wrong lab here. Let me launch it again. When I click on this lab, as long as I can, I'm running this. So many people who did not, I mean, people who were technical product managers, they were not necessarily the best coders, but they wanted to attend the bootcamp just to understand, just to guide the product. They were actually very happy. And you can look at the testimonials on our website. Real people, by the way, I mean, they're not just some, we don't have any stock photo models or some John Does and Jane Does giving us reviews. These are real people with real LinkedIn profiles. Go and talk to them, and they are our champions. So if you look at this, I can run, and I can run this. And then if you are someone who is more technology or more programming savvy, you can go and modify. The code. And if you're not, that's okay, because you can still run this code and understand, at least at a very high level, how does this whole thing actually work. So if you look at this, this is our lab for prompt engineering, just our basic first lab in prompt engineering. So I just put the API key for my OpenAI API key in this part of the code. And then if you look at this, so this is all included in, so you will get the OpenAI API key in class while we are working. You have access to this. There's no setup required on your side. And if you notice, this is my Jupyter Notebook. This is a persistent storage here. This is a persistent storage that you can see here. And now if you look at this here, so everyone gets their own dedicated personalized storage. You don't have to worry about, where will I install this? Do I know which packages? We have taken care of all of that for you. And then you are running. And then over here, you can see that as I run the code, you can see this is just an example of generating an image programmatically. Of course, examples are going to be somewhat more involved than this. And we are going to go into a lot of these exercises. Maybe I will show one more module here. That is the LangChain module. I think I had it open somewhere here. Yeah, this is our LangChain module. For instance, if you look at this, we talk about pretty much all of these. We talk about how do you connect your application, different types of models. How do you connect it, different types of data sources, different kinds of parsers, different kind of extractors, different kind of chains. Let me give an example, right? So there is this example of simple sequential chains. And you can now see, even if you're not a coder, you know how to click on this. We have talked about what is the purpose of chains, how to use them. And now if I run the same drill, sorry, I should have given the key here. I will copy and paste and run here. And then if I run it, you can see that I'm using a GPT 3.5 Turbo. And then this is an example. I'm not sure. Maybe most of you perhaps don't know what chains are. But this is basically chains is connecting. Instead of giving a single query, you're basically connecting two queries or the two prompts or two inference queries that are connected with each other, and the second query depends upon the output from the first query. In this case, I think this is, and I'm running this chain, and this is, you can see that you see that how it is basically running the chain and giving me an answer. So one of the most common questions that we hear is, can I do it, right? So it's I don't have a background in machine learning. Or I'm not a greatest programmer. I'm just a product guy or product person. That is okay. I mean, if you can read English, Python is, if you run. So as long as you're coming with an understanding, what do you want to build? If you're coming from generally, I mean, you understand generally, I mean, what you want to, what application you want to build. We have had people who did not have a very deep coding background. They were okay. And you don't need to have a machine learning background. We actually do discuss some of the machine learning, not in depth, but enough concepts that are needed to actually for you to be able to understand how things should be done. And so we talk about a lot of other things. You can see that there is fine tuning is there. We talk about this Nebula, the conversational AI. We talk about LangChain. We talk about observability and evaluation. How do you evaluate a model? Because in a fraud prediction model, in classic machine learning and fraud prediction or customer churn prediction, your answers are clear. Either it is a fraud or not a fraud. In this case, two answers or two responses can be similar, right? So some kind of, it could be two responses could be, a human would say, yeah, these are same responses, but the words that have been used, they are not the same. So how do you evaluate the response when that is the case? So we talk about that. We talk about a lot of deployment related issues. And we spend a lot of time in discussing the nuances. Mostly, even though we spend about 4-ish hours on fine tuning, but the rest of the boot camp we talk about all the nuances and the challenges and really optimizations in a RAG application, right? So how do you choose the right chunk size? How do you augment your chunks? Different kind of chunking strategies. We talk about that, right? So we talk about hybrid search, ranking fusion. I can keep going. I can keep throwing terms here, but the general idea is that it is we actually go in quite a lot of depth. But we build slowly, right? So it starts with the fundamentals, and we slowly build the momentum, right? So we don't go to vector databases until we have understood embeddings. And we don't go to semantic search until we have understood embeddings and vector databases. We don't go to LangChain until we have figured some of the foundations out. And we don't go to observability and guardrails until we understand in general how an application is built. So in general, it is, I have to say that, I mean, very well thought out. I mean, because we do this for a living on a day-to-day basis. As I said, I spend 50% of my time in actually on a product that we are building. So we have actually a product that has customers, some big companies that are using our products. So we know how these products are built, and we know how what challenges companies run into. So if you are aspiring to build LLM application at your company, this is the bootcamp, and this is very practical, very hands-on. Let me show you a few more things. I know there are a few questions, but before I go to those questions, I'm going to go and show a few more things. So one form of exercises that you saw are this here, when you're basically clicking on this and the Jupyter notebook pops up like this. We have actually been building a lot of other things. I mean, so let's say this is our prompt engineering exercise. So, and now what we have done here is we have built these tools where you are able to, you're able to practice prompt engineering right within, without, even if you don't know, if you don't want to write Python code, you want to practice just prompt engineering without the coding part of it, you can just go and write it down. So we have these sandboxes, not just for Python programming, but we have sandboxes also for prompt engineering. So let me demo it here. Write haiku about generative AI, right? So now, and we have a lot of exercises. I mean, definitely the exercises are going to be something more than what I'm talking about. And then now you can see it has come up with haiku. And then if I expand this, you can see I can actually choose the number of tokens. I can choose a temperature. Let me, you can play around with temperature. And then it is going to, just give me a bunch of different answers based on this different settings. So we have the curriculum, a very carefully designed curriculum, the instructors, top-notch instructors teaching the bootcamp. Then the right tools in place, so you don't have to worry about installing things. So it's all set up. I mean, so you just come in and start learning. Let me go back and see what else did we have. I mean, I've talked about most of these things here. Enterprise grade applications. And then I don't know if I mentioned, but there is an actual application that you will be building on the last day of the bootcamp. So the 5-day bootcamp that we have. On the last day of the bootcamp, you go from Monday through Friday. You start at 8 a.m. on Monday and go all the way to 5 p.m. on Friday. And then on the last day, you are going to actually build a RAG-based LLM application. We will give you the code. We will give you the infrastructure. You are using our cloud subscriptions, our accounts, except that the GitHub account is going to be yours, of course. So, and you will actually leave with a working application deployed in Streamlit Cloud, and we will be giving you everything. And then it may sound like a lot of work, but even if you are not a programmer, Streamlit is actually something that shields you from that coding. And then even if you're not a programmer, you should be able to actually have a running application, right? So the way we have been doing this, 11,000 people is a lot of people that we have trained. And after that many people that we have trained, our infrastructure is very, very mature, and our processes are very mature. And you should be able to actually, even without any coding background, you should leave with a running application. And this is our lineup. So I'm one of the instructors, of course. That's why I'm here. Lewis actually is going to be teaching transformers, attention mechanism. Ofer is from Vectera. So he actually talks about, this idea of RAG in a box. Karthik he will be talking about generally cover the conversational AI and domain-specific models. Pavel is from MongoDB. He talks about all the MongoDB related features. At this time we'll talk. We are introducing this LangChain and semantic caching using MongoDB. So this is a brand new module. And this is also one more thing. Since we are practitioners, we are passionate about what we do. So it is not something, hey, we have to do it because we get paid for it. No, I mean, we enjoy it, right? So this module, on MongoDB, it wasn't there in the previous bootcamp, and now we are introducing it in the new bootcamp because I saw a LinkedIn post. Hey, I reached out to MongoDB. Hey, guys, do you want to? I mean, because I like it, and they said, yeah, I mean, we would love to. So so the curriculum is constantly being updated. We are living in a very interesting time where, I wake up and every single day I see a social media post on LinkedIn where I find out, especially I follow both LangChain and Llama Index. I mean, great places to learn. And then we are going to be like every day I learn something new. I mean, some of the problems that I'm working on internally, some of the problems that I'm facing. And then I would go and, I mean, this is great. So someone is coming up with a solution. And then in many cases, we incorporate those interesting learnings, interesting lessons into our bootcamp. So the bootcamp is constantly, when we started the bootcamp about 6 months ago, the bootcamp that we started with, it is the bootcamp that is now, it is very different. And the other thing is, thanks to the learning platform that we have, and if you attend the bootcamp and 3 months down the road, if there is any new talk, any new tutorial that has happened, you actually, those talks are uploaded in the learning platform, so you can catch up and you have access to the learning platform. If there are any new labs, any new material, any new exercises, new coding, new Python notebooks are added, you have access to that for 1 year since starting from the first day of the bootcamp. Then Hamza is also, some of you may know him. I mean, he's running his own startup in exactly the same space. Sophie is a data scientist at Stripe. She talks about some of the cultural issues and some of the business challenges in implementation. This is one of the most favorite, one of the talks that gets the highest rating. Great talk, less technical, more about, a more down-to-earth, real pragmatic talk, but people love it. Sanjay is our senior data engineer. He mainly leads the module on LangChain. Bernice from YLabs. YLabs is a valued partner. They have been with us since the beginning of the bootcamp. They talk about putting guardrails on your putting proper guardrails, logging, and then really basically surrounding your model with more observability and monitoring and etc. And Hamza is a co-founder of ZenML, and he actually talks about how to deploy and operationalize your applications. And these are our partner testimonials. I mean, these are well-known people from industry. I mean, they are these companies. They are partnering with us for this particular this bootcamp. You can see that where we have very happy partners and very happy customers. And if you notice this list, I don't think this is updated. We have had people coming from not just like within the US. We have people coming from as far as Australia, right? So we have had last bootcamp, we had someone traveling all the way from either Sydney or Melbourne to Seattle. So we have that reputation and trust that people are willing to actually take a long flight. I mean, we have people coming from Middle East, we have people coming from Saudi Arabia, and other countries in that region. So our next in-person boot camp is in Seattle from April 22nd to 26th. So that is there. And in addition to that, let me actually bring it up here. I will bring it here. Our in-person bootcamp, so this is the in-person bootcamp, but we have also launched our online bootcamp. And our online bootcamp is coming up, or rather not bootcamp, but short courses. There is our first online course is this what we call LLM for everyone, large language models for everyone. I'm very confident that even if you don't know any coding, you're not from technology, you're a lawyer, you're a medical doctor, you're just curious, what is this whole thing about? So this course is a very short course. It's a 4 to 5 hour course. We will actually teach you about this whole idea of what an LLM is, and what are large language models, what is prompt engineering, how does it work, what are the do's and what are the don'ts of large language models. And then you can see it's right now it's actually a very steeply discounted actually training, because they are launching the online training. So you are, this is, I think the prices may change shortly, but you can see that, if you want it with I should have mentioned, by the way, so all our trainings, they are backed by an accredited university, the University of New Mexico Continuing Education. So anytime when you attend a training, depending upon what package you purchased, you get a verified certificate that is recorded and at the registrar's office in that university. And if you are looking for some professional, renewal of your professional certification and all of that, all the trainings, they come with continuing education credit. In this case, this one comes with 1 CEU, and the boot camp that I showed you just now, our in-person boot camp, it comes with 5 CEUs, 5 continuing education credits that can be applied to any professional body certification. I mean, if your job requires that, and then you can also, some companies, they require a certificate from a university for reimbursement. So for reimbursement purposes, this is also going to be applicable. And then this is the online instructor-led version of the LangChain module that we cover at the in-person bootcamp. Exactly the same curriculum, same intensity, except that it is going to be through Zoom or Teams. And then you can see the curriculum involves pretty much everything that LangChain has to offer. As I said, it is 8 hours of very intense training that is going to be instructor-led live instruction. And then in this case, once again, I will be teaching it, and Sanjay is going to be also teaching it. Actually, Sanjay is the primary instructor. I'm the secondary instructor. And he knows, Sanjay is a wonderful, wonderful engineer. And then you can see, right? So these are the past people who have attended our large language models training, and these people are coming from really big companies. I mean, so they are not and these are real people. I mean, you can see. I mean, just go and look them up. These people are actually they have attended the training and they recommend us. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go and start taking questions. Let me see. And feel free to, if you are online, if you're on the Zoom call, I am looking at the questions. But if you are online through LinkedIn or YouTube, anywhere, please leave your questions in your comments. And then someone from the team is going to grab that question and route to me. Yes. Can you share the slide deck and pricing for the bootcamp? Please look at the comments. We have, if you need the slide deck, of course, you will have to request the slide deck. So there is some you can actually contact us. There is, contact us using the form that we have shared, and then we will be actually sending you the slide deck. Sure. We share slide deck all the time. Okay, then I will come to Betty. I know you just posted a question. I will get back to you. I will get to that question. Let me address one more question before that. I'm a Java developer and haven't programmed in Python. How can I learn before the bootcamp? Learn it before the bootcamp. I see you have a Python tutorial. Is it available only after registering to the bootcamp, or can I have it to decide if I'm available? I'm able to participate. Yes, it is only available because there is tons of this is years of effort that we have put in overall in the learning platform. So the learning platform access can only happen after you have registered. This is so if you are a Java developer and if you are worried about programming, I would say don't worry about it, right? So Python is a much easier language than Java, so you are going to be fine. But you can see that it's not a very detailed tutorial. You really don't need to have a detailed tutorial. All you need to pick up is the syntax, right? So, well, dictionaries will be dictionaries, and arrays will be arrays. It's classes will be classes, objects will be objects. So I think you will be fine. I think. I'm pretty confident you will be okay. Then Betty's question: how can the 5 days in Seattle bootcamp and the 8 hours online be equivalent? I did not claim that. If I imply, I did not even try to imply this. So the 8-hour online is only for LangChain, so it covers only 1 day of the bootcamp. So there was a question: how can the 5 days in Seattle bootcamp and 8 hours online be equivalent in content? So I did not claim that because the online 8 hours course is only LangChain, but the in-person course is much more than LangChain. So I hope that makes sense. Does the online option cover exact same stuff in in-person bootcamp? Yes, depending upon which module. Right now, in the online version, let me actually bring it up. In the online version, if you go to LangChain, so whatever we cover in LangChain, about 8 hours, it is exactly the same as the LangChain module that we have. And then we spend 8 hours in LangChain, on LangChain in person, and then we will be spending the same amount of time. But we are about to launch. We are about to launch the fine-tuning course. It will be a separate 6-hour course. So basically, what we are doing is the module that we cover in person, we are slowly going to roll them out one by one in online setting. Right now, we have only 2 of these out of all of these modules. We have only 2 of these modules online. But whatever we cover, if you cover fine tuning, so the fine tuning in person, the fine tuning module in person is going to be the same as the fine tuning module online. If you're covering observability and guardrails, whatever you cover in bootcamp, it is going to be online. So we are basically breaking down this bootcamp. We are breaking down the in-person bootcamp into a bunch of online courses, so it is more affordable. You can break things down. You can see that the price point is very different, and then also you don't have to travel, so that cost also is not there. Okay. Most universities are giving certificates in 1 year or a few months for AI ML. Can you summarize on how this 5-day bootcamp achieves that? It is like this program only covers how to build, use tools. So this is a question by Suj or Suj. I don't know how to pronounce it, right? So Suj, we have a long history. We are not, by any stretch of imagination, we are not a new player. So universities, they have their own structure and how they do things. They have to go by 2 hours a week or 6 hours a week, and then for an entire semester on, in certifications and all of that, right? We have had people who have attended the certifications at bigger universities. They've attended our boot camp. We have, check out our website. If you go under, I will encourage that you go under, let me just go back here. On the website, go under reviews, success stories, alumni, testimonials, companies. And this is not, as I keep saying, these are, I don't think any other company in machine learning and data science learning space has that many verified reviews, including the big names like Coursera, Udemy, right? So, we are actually one of the most respected and most trusted companies. Because universities, with all due respect, I have a PhD, I've been on the academia side, right? So there is a difference between reading and writing papers, and there is a difference and versus building solutions, right? So you have so what we have done here is we teach you the core of it, what is needed, so you can be on your own. And but at the end of the day, it really depends upon what you're looking for. If you have the time and the energy to spend a year learning those topics through an online certification through a university, of course, by all means, you're welcome to. It's a different target market. What we do is, what we take pride in is you are going to be in and out of this in 5 days. And go check it out. Reach out to those people. Hundreds of people actually vouch for us that they started as a beginner, and then now they are building things, right? So, and that's but we are not only covering building and using tools. So we cover. So when we talk about any topic, we are going to go enough into the details. We'll talk about the math part of it. We'll talk about the programming side of it. We'll talk about the algorithmic side of it. But we are not going to spend time on proving theorems and lemmas and all of that, right? That's not, this is, I tell this to my own engineers and my own data scientists as well, that you have to have a mind of a scientist, but bias for action of an engineer, because both sides have their pros and cons. So we don't just teach programming; we teach the theory, but we also don't stick to only theory. We also teach programming. So it is a healthy balance between the two. So I hope this answers the question. I know it. I've gotten this question in the past. The only way to, is spend the time. Just do some research on our website, right? So and check it out, right? So not just 1, 2. There's hundreds of people. Who are on camera. They're saying that we are the best training that they have ever attended, right? So, and we know how to teach machine learning and now large language models. Okay, so Betty, your question: the in-person bootcamp is only in Seattle, or will it travel around? Like come to NYC, and how much is it, right? So the price point is going to be, again, about the same, Betty. But NYC, we have considered we used to, pre-COVID, we have done like 10 boot camps in NYC. So we used to do it, and we have even this year, the LLM bootcamp, we were in DC, we were in Austin. So we may come to NYC, but it is more about the operations and logistics that make it very hard, because this is not a self-paced learning course. This is actually, these people are, like these are top-notch people from industry. Getting their time and having them, come in and teach at NYC, it is not. Because many boot camps, they will have, hey, anyone who can just regurgitate the slides is okay, right? So they can just go and teach, right? But getting those people who actually have done it, their time, operationally and financially, it becomes not feasible to actually get those people to actually teach in a different city and traveling around, right? So because this is an in-person bootcamp. So online, yes, NYC might happen later this year, but I don't have a date because we have done it in NYC. NYC tends to be, a tricky one in terms of getting a venue, but we may be coming there, but nothing in terms of nothing confirmed. How much is it? It is going to be around the same price point as Seattle. We don't differentiate in terms of which city it is. That's. I hope that answers your question, Betty. Okay, there are more questions. Any plan of allowing students to join the bootcamp virtually? I wish I could do this, Mammy. But, I would love to, but really, the in-person bootcamp is an experience, right? So, and, it is, attending it virtually would not even come close to, because we imagine so we serve the breakfast, right? So before the boot camp, people coming in, they're already actually discussing, I mean, in the water cooler talk and, having coffee together during breaks, but still brainstorming together. People are actually really, really absorbed when they are at this boot camp. In 5 days, lifelong friendships happen, they stay connected, job opportunities. So, you're eating together, and then we have a networking dinner that happens somewhere during the boot camp. We go out, eat together, and still, talking about. So I think, yeah, you will be paying for the in-person boot camp and doing it virtually. I think it doesn't even come close to it. So I would, and then we don't recommend this because operationally, we are adding one more bottleneck on our side. What if something happens, the audio and all? So it becomes actually a bit cumbersome. So no, at this point, there is no option of joining. I mean, we would love to actually, it's revenue for us, but we very, we are very protective about the reputation and the quality of the training. And then for that, we pay attention to every aspect. So online is not going to be possible for the in-person boot camp and joining it remotely. Okay, you don't live in is there any financing option for someone living in Canada? Mammy, please reach out. I am not sure. We do have some financing partners. I'm not sure if they cover Canada or not, but we should be able to help you. What is the minimum requirements for the machine spec in terms of memory? None, because when you can bring in your Chromebook and you will be fine, because when you click on this, when you click on, when you click on one of these practical exercises, in reality, this is not running on your computer. These labs are running on our cloud infrastructure. So we have pre-configured all the packages, all the machines. So even if you can run this technically, I've run this on my phone as well, right? You can run it on your iPad. So there's no machine requirement. And this is exactly, in the past, what has happened is people would come in and then, hey, my IT would not allow me to install this package. What should I do? And then you are basically in a different city. We used to carry extra laptops because we knew someone is going to get stuck in this. Or sometimes you're spending an insane amount of time just resolving their dependencies of packages, conflicts, and all of that. If you notice this, Mammy, here, you are going to get a dedicated space in our bootcamp environment. Environment, and then any code changes that you do, they are persistent. This is yours to keep. And then you can actually create, as long as you don't start mining Bitcoins here, right? So I think you are, you're more than welcome to continue to use it, right? So you can, I can create a new notebook. I can make a copy of this, modify this, and run it, and all of that, right? So all of this is, and that's why, I mean, sometimes people say, hey, that's on the pricey side, because, I mean, we pay a lot of attention to detail, and there's, of course, I mean, there's a lot of overhead on our side that actually, that makes sure that your experience at the bootcamp is very, very smooth. we have thought through pretty much every single aspect of what makes a very smooth learning experience. So, Betty, you have a question. After the April 22nd bootcamp, what is the next in-person date in Seattle? Usually, our plan is to continue every 2 months. We have not announced. We are still debating, between DC, Austin, and New York and Seattle. Where should the next one happen? So please stay connected, and we should be announcing it shortly. Okay, are there any other questions here? Yes, there are. How long do we have access to the space after the course ends? Legally, we tell people because we are supposed to, that contractually it is 1 year, but we have not, we have never cut anyone off, right? So we don't usually cut people off. People come back and anything that has changed, they have access to it. But contractually, it is 1 year. And of course, there is a fixed cost of infrastructure that we're paying. But if, as long as, it is the terms of use are respected, we usually don't cut people off. But contractually, it is 1 year. Okay. Are there any other questions from anyone? Okay. So I hope I have covered everything, all the slides. Yeah. If there are no other questions, I think that is it from my side. Please reach out to us if you have any questions. Really, if you want to go over the curriculum, if you want any one-on-one, if you want. So we actually take our customer calls very seriously. So if you have any questions about the training, about hey, I don't think I can do it. This is my background. I'm a product manager. Whether I should do it or not. So feel free to actually reach out, right? So whatever your role, whatever your discipline is, we will help you make a decision. We'll show you what the bootcamp is and what it is not. Okay. Well, thanks everyone. Thank you for joining, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of you at the bootcamp.